Welcome to the sleepy atom, where science whispers through starlight and the sky holds its breath just long enough for you to listen. Tonight, we're not just gazing into space, we're quietly leaning into its secrets. The night sky has always felt like a painting hung just above our heads, still, peaceful, and comforting. But what if it's not what it seems? What if the quiet canvas above is alive, moving, bending, hiding things in plain sight? This isn't about fear, it's about wonder. The kind of wonder that makes you pause at 2 a.m., staring up, feeling something stir in your chest, like the sky is watching back, because it might be. The night sky is not just a view, it's a story that's still being written. You're part of it, your atoms, your breath, your thoughts. They're all tied into the glowing past of distant stars and the silent pull of things you'll never see. So lie back, let your shoulders loosen, and let's drift together into the gentle unknown above you. The night sky may look quiet, but it's been hiding something from you all along. When you stare into the night sky, something stares back. We've all done it, laid beneath the stars and just stared. At first it feels peaceful, but then there's that strange moment, like the sky is no longer just something you're looking at. It's looking back. It's not a threat. It's not fear. It's something older than language. A whisper that says, "You're being seen too, not by a person, not by a creature, but by the fabric of space itself." And that idea changes everything, because it means you're not separate from what's up there. You're in it, part of it, made of the same pieces. The atoms in your bones once floated through that same sky. Maybe they were part of a dying star. Maybe they once burned bright before being scattered across the void. And now, here you are, looking back into the face of your own origin. It's easy to forget how alive the sky is. During the day, it hides behind blue, but at night, it reveals its memory. A billion tiny eyes blinking at you. And not one of them is random. They're arranged, pulled, bent by forces you can't see but have always felt. Gravity, light, distance, silence. And isn't it strange how sometimes it feels like the sky knows when you need it? You step outside after a long day, and a single star appears like it's waiting just for you. That's not coincidence. That's connection. Maybe the universe doesn't speak in words. Maybe it speaks in quiet signs. A flicker, a cool breeze, a pause in your breath. The next time you find yourself staring up, take a second. Really feel it. The stars may be far away, but something deeper, something older, is right there with you, watching, listening, waiting for you to remember. You're not alone. The darkness above you is not empty. When we look up at night, most of what we see is black, a canvas dotted with stars. But what if I told you the darkness isn't empty at all? It's full of light that hasn't arrived yet, full of things too faint, too slow, too ancient for your eyes to catch. Darkness isn't the absence of something, it's the presence of mystery. Imagine an ocean, vast, calm, stretching beyond sight. Just because you can't see the creatures in its depths doesn't mean they're not there. Space is like that, a silent sea full of secrets. Black holes drifting, nebulas breathing, galaxies colliding in total silence. Some of the darkness you see is dust, thick clouds of cosmic debris hiding entire regions of the universe. Behind those shadows could be stars brighter than our sun. Entire systems we'll never know exist. Light tries to push through, but space has its own way of keeping secrets. And it does it so well, we mistake that silence for nothingness. And then there's something deeper, dark matter. It doesn't glow, it doesn't reflect, but it pulls. It tugs on galaxies and bends the light of stars like invisible fingers. You can't see it, but you can feel its impact across the entire cosmos. So next time the sky looks black and blank, remember this. The darkness isn't hiding from you. It's just waiting, waiting for the right moment, the right lens, the right question. What you call empty is actually overflowing with stories that haven't been told yet. Why the stars blink like they're trying to speak. Have you ever noticed how some stars twinkle while others seem to hold steady? That little flicker, that shimmering dance. It's not just romantic, it's science, it's communication, it's light travelling across time and space, brushing against air currents, bending through our atmosphere, dancing before it reaches your eyes. And maybe, just maybe, it's also a signal. Stars blink because their light is distorted by Earth's atmosphere. But there's something poetic about that flicker. It's as if the universe is sending Morse code, not in words but in rhythm, pattern, vibration. Each blink carries a history, a temperature, a mood. And stars aren't silent either. Many pulse, not just visibly, but energetically. Some throb with heat, others swell and shrink in predictable cycles, like cosmic heartbeats. These pulses can span days, months, even years. And the bigger they are, the more dramatic the story behind the flicker becomes. Think of the stars as storytellers, but instead of voices, they use light. Instead of language, they use timing. The stars don't blink because they're tired. They blink because they've seen things you'll never imagine. And even across unfathomable distances, they're still trying to say something to you. So maybe, just maybe, the next time you see a flicker in the sky, you'll pause and wonder, what's that little light trying to say tonight? The forgotten light that left long before you were born. Every star you see in the sky is in the past, not just metaphorically, literally. The light you see left those stars years ago, sometimes decades, sometimes centuries. Some of the starlight entering your eyes tonight began its journey before your grandparents were even born. It's one of the most hauntingly beautiful facts in all of science. The stars don't show us what's happening now. They show us what already happened. They're like time capsules, history books written in light, and you're reading them with your eyes without even knowing it. Imagine this. A star that exploded 1,000 years ago is only now reaching us. That light travelled patiently, uninterrupted, across the cold vastness of space, just so it could end its journey inside your vision tonight. It didn't ask for attention. It didn't expect applause. It just arrived, quietly, as if it knew you'd be watching. There's something deeply emotional about that. A reminder that not everything meaningful happens in real time. Some things take years to be understood. Some truths wait. Some beauty lingers in silence until someone finally looks up. So when you gaze at the stars, you're not seeing the present. You're seeing long-lost moments of cosmic history, arriving just in time to remind you how connected we all are. The sky that exists only at night. Most people don't think of it this way, but the sky has two lives, one for the day and one for the night. And the night version? It's not just darker, it's deeper. It reveals things that the sun hides, things that can only be seen in the quiet, in the stillness, in the dark. When sunlight floods the atmosphere, it washes out everything subtle. The stars fade, the planets dim. Even the moon sometimes bows to the brightness. But when night falls, it's like a curtain is drawn, and the second stage of reality appears. It's not just a visual shift, it's an emotional one. The night sky makes you feel different. It slows you down. It softens your thoughts. It invites questions you don't usually ask when the sun is out. Who am I in all this? What else is out there? What does it mean to just be? There are things that only exist in this version of the sky: the glow of the Milky Way, the trail of a comet, the brief flash of a meteor. They're not visible by force, they arrive by grace, and you can't summon them, you have to witness them. What's still moving in the sky even when you're asleep? Most people think the night sky is still, but the truth is, it never stops moving, not even for a second. Stars are drifting, planets are spinning, galaxies are twisting like cosmic whirlpools in complete silence. Even as you close your eyes and drift into dreams, space keeps dancing. Above your roof, your town, your sleeping form, everything up there is shifting, slowly, yes, gracefully, but never paused. You're sleeping beneath a symphony in motion, entire solar systems gliding through gravitational currents you'll never feel but are always there. The moon is changing position, satellites are arcing across the atmosphere, tiny meteor trails are slipping by like fireflies. If the sky were a stage, it would be the most active theatre you've never noticed, because its drama isn't loud, it's subtle, timeless, and always underway. And here's a strange thought. The constellations we see today, they're not permanent. Thousands of years from now, they'll be unrecognizable. Stars will drift apart. Patterns will dissolve. Our sky is just a temporary version, a snapshot in a cosmic slideshow that never repeats itself. So when you lie in bed and imagine everything is frozen, remember, above you, the universe is still in motion. It doesn't need applause. It just keeps flowing. The cold echoes of ancient explosions. In the silent shadows of the universe, there are echoes, not like sound bouncing off walls, but energy. Invisible ripples from violent cosmic events that happened long before our species even existed. These echoes are all around us, moving through the dark like memory itself. Supernovae, stars exploding in their final breath, are one of the most powerful events in space. And even after the light fades, something lingers. Radiation, particles, a soft hum of consequence. These aren't just scientific leftovers, they're the fingerprints of time itself. Some of these explosions are so far away that we'll never see them, but our instruments do. Telescopes designed not to see light, but to feel waves of energy. They pick up the aftershocks, a kind of cosmic static, a faint whisper that says, something happened here, a long, long time ago. And it's not just poetic, it's real. The night sky isn't just a canvas of stars. It's filled with remnants, trails, scars from moments that once lit up galaxies. And now? Now they drift, cool and quiet, like ash in an infinite breeze. You may not hear them with your ears, but your body, your atoms, your story, it exists in the echo of those ancient roars. Why space is louder than it looks? Space is quiet, right? That's what we've always heard. But that's only because sound, the kind we understand, can't travel in a vacuum. No air, no vibration, no voice. But does that mean it's truly silent? Not quite. Space speaks, just not in ways you're used to hearing. The universe communicates through waves. Not just light waves, but gravitational waves. Ripples in the very fabric of space-time. When massive objects like black holes collide, they send out a pulse, like a stone tossed in a cosmic pond. That ripple moves across the universe, and sometimes it passes right through us. We've only just begun to detect these waves. Instruments like LIGO listen for them, like giant ears pressed against the silence. And what they hear is astonishing. The aftershocks of events billions of years old, still moving, still echoing, still shaping reality. There are also radio signals, not music or messages, but deep, low-frequency pulses, many from natural phenomena, but a few that still puzzle scientists. Are they stars? Neutron collisions? Something else? The universe hums, and we've barely scratched the surface of its song. So no, space isn't silent, it's just playing a frequency we haven't quite tuned into yet. But once you start listening, you'll never look at the stars the same way again. The shadows between stars are not what you think. When you gaze at the night sky, it's easy to focus on the stars, the bright dots, the constellations, but in between, the black, the empty space, that's where the real mystery lives. And it's not actually empty, it's full of things we can't see yet. The darkness between stars is dense with cosmic dust, floating particles, unseen planets, and maybe even entire galaxies hiding behind veils of gas. Some of it is just too far. Some of it's hidden behind obstacles. And some of it is something we don't fully understand yet. There's also dark energy, a force not yet fully explained, but believed to be stretching the universe itself apart. It's not visible. It doesn't shine. But it exists in the between. It's what gives the darkness its power, not as a void, but as a quiet engine still running. Even when a space looks still, there's motion. Even when it looks black, there's light we haven't evolved to see. And sometimes, what hides in the shadows holds more truth than what stands in the light. The invisible threads pulling on planets. If you could step outside the solar system and look at everything from a distance, you wouldn't see stillness. You'd see orbits, spirals, ellipses looping through space like invisible brushstrokes. Planets aren't fixed. They're pulled gently, constantly, by unseen threads that hold them in rhythm. These threads are gravity, not a force you can see, but one you can always feel. It's the reason your feet stay on Earth, but it's also the reason the Earth doesn't drift off like a balloon. Every planet is locked in a kind of cosmic waltz, bound not by chains, but by trust. Sometimes we imagine space as chaotic, but in truth it's more like a well-choreographed dance. Even in its extremes, black holes, rogue asteroids, there's an underlying grace to how things pull on one another. It's delicate, not destructive. It's precise, not random. And here's the fascinating part. Even the smallest tug from a distant object can slowly shift the course of a planet. Over centuries, over millennia, tiny pulls create enormous changes, like ripples that start quietly but end up reshaping entire systems. So when you look at a planet through a telescope, you're not just seeing a world, you're seeing the result of a billion-year balancing act. Strings you'll never touch but that touch everything. How the night sky bends light in secret ways. Light should travel in straight lines, but it doesn't. Not always. In space, gravity is strong enough to bend it. Imagine that, a beam of light stretched across galaxies pulled gently off course by something it never meant to pass. Like a whisper being turned by a breeze it didn't expect. This phenomenon is called gravitational lensing. It's like space itself is a magnifying glass. Massive objects, like black holes or entire galaxy clusters, bend the space around them. And that curved space bends light, which means sometimes we see stars that aren't even where they seem to be. It's not a glitch, it's not an illusion, it's the truth, disguised. A star behind a galaxy might appear in front, or doubled, or stretched into a ring. And all of it happens without sound, without warning, just light, moving through warped space. These bending effects have helped us discover things we'd never see otherwise. Hidden galaxies, ancient explosions, dark matter maps. By studying how light is distorted, we can trace the shape of things that remain invisible to the eye. So when you stare into the sky, don't be so sure you're seeing it as it is. The truth may be curving, curling, shifting, right in front of you, the stars that refuse to be seen. Not all stars want to be noticed. Some hide. They're shrouded in gas. Others are too cool to shine brightly, and some are just too far, their light dimmed by time and distance. But they're out there, quietly burning in silence, just beneath the limits of what our eyes can see. Take brown dwarfs, for example. They're not quite stars, not quite planets. They sit in a cosmic in-between, too small to ignite like the sun, too large to be just rocks in space. They glow faintly in infrared, invisible to you unless you're looking with the right tools. There are also protostars, baby stars, still forming inside clouds of dust. They're wrapped in the materials that made them, like embryos in space. To human eyes, they're invisible, but they're real. They pulse with heat. They grow in silence. They wait for their moment to emerge. Some stars vanish entirely from view. Hidden behind thick veils of interstellar dust, they become ghosts, present but unreachable. We know they exist not because we see them, but because we see what they do to the things around them. And maybe that's a lesson. Not everything real is visible. Some truths shine quietly, waiting for you to notice with more than just your eyes. A silent storm. Happening overhead. Above you, right now, there is a storm. Not of rain, not of thunder, but of particles, solar winds. Charged ions from the sun travelling millions of kilometres just to meet our atmosphere. And you can't hear it. You can't feel it. But Earth does. Every second. These storms are constant, a quiet exchange between the sun and the sky. They're what cause auroras, those ghostly waves of colour that ripple across polar skies. But even when you can't see the lights, the particles are still arriving, still brushing against our magnetic field like fingertips on glass. Sometimes the storms get stronger. Solar flares erupt. Coronal mass ejections burst from the sun's surface. And when those particles hit Earth's magnetic bubble, they distort it, bend it, stretch it. And deep inside your devices, satellites, radios, power grids, things begin to hum. We've built our world unaware of this dance. But the universe hasn't stopped playing. The sky above isn't still. It's reactive, alive, responding to a fire 93 million miles away. And somehow it does all this, without ever breaking its quiet. It's strange how something so invisible can shape so much. And yet it continues, without drama, without sound, a storm that never shouts, only whispers. The soft flicker of a distant supernova. In some part of the sky, far from your home, a star once died, spectacularly. It didn't fade quietly. It exploded, a brilliant final act of cosmic release. And the glow from that death is still moving toward you, still flickering its way across time like a slow, echoing goodbye. Supernovae are rare, and when they happen, they change everything around them. They create new elements, gold, calcium, iron. They scatter them like seeds. And in the vacuum of space, those seeds travel, sometimes for millions of years, until they find new homes, new stars, new planets, maybe even you. You're made of that stardust, your bones, your breath, the iron in your blood. All of it came from explosions like that. Distant, ancient flickers that lit up galaxies long before Earth even existed. And now, they're still flickering, just far enough away to look small. Every once in a while, we catch one in real time. A star blinks, then vanishes, and the sky records its final sigh. But most of the time, we only see the remnants, nebulae, cloud trails, radiation, proof that something beautiful once burned too brightly to last. As the sky opens more in this video, we'll begin to trace not just where stars are, but what they leave behind when they say goodbye. The hidden colours of the universe. The night sky looks black and white, sprinkled with stars that seem white or blue, maybe orange if you squint. But in truth, the universe is drenched in colour, vibrant, surreal, invisible to you colour. Your eyes are just too limited to catch it all, but it's there, glowing in wavelengths your body never learned to see. Stars burn in different colours depending on their temperature. Blue stars are the hottest, red the coolest. But beyond the visible spectrum lies an entire rainbow of ultraviolet, infrared, and radio light. These colours paint the sky in ways that only special telescopes can reveal. Glowing greens, purples, and electric reds. Galaxies shine in X-rays. Planets reflect in the near-infrared. And in the distant cosmic microwave background, a soft echo of orange still hums through space, the colour of the universe cooling down after the Big Bang. Astronomers create false colour images to help us see what's really there. These aren't fake, they're translations. They show us what the cosmos is whispering in colour frequencies we can't hear with our eyes. So that starry black and white night above your home, it's only one version. The universe hasn't hidden its colours. It's just waiting for you to learn how to see in more than one way. Why the sky isn't really black. It's one of the strangest truths you'll ever hear. The night sky isn't black. Not really, not even close. If your eyes were more sensitive, even just slightly, you'd see that the sky glows. Constantly, softly, faintly, like a background hum, not of sound but of light. This glow is called the cosmic background radiation. It's the leftover light from the Big Bang, still echoing all around us. It's everywhere, through every patch of sky, even the darkest corners. It's not bright, but it's persistent, like the warmth of an old memory you didn't know was still there. And then there's starlight, billions of stars from galaxies far beyond what we can resolve, all blending together into a soft haze. Our eyes don't see this blur, but long exposure photographs do. Point a telescope at the blackest part of the sky for hours, and it comes alive. There's also airglow, a gentle shimmer caused by atoms in our atmosphere interacting with sunlight. Even when the sun is gone, its energy lingers. And the sky, even in deep night, keeps glowing quietly. So when you call the sky black, remember, it's only because you're looking with eyes that were built for daylight. The night has never been empty, just misunderstood. The cosmic dust you've been breathing all along. There's a fine ancient powder falling all around you, and you've probably never noticed. Every day, Earth is showered with space dust. Tiny grains, some no bigger than the width of a human hair, drifting through the atmosphere and settling on rooftops, oceans, forests. Even your skin. This dust comes from comets, asteroids, exploding stars. It's made of metals, silicates, carbon, the raw ingredients of planets, moons, and life itself. It drifts across the solar system, floats through our skies, and lands without a sound. And some of it is older than the Earth. You might think this is rare. It's not. Scientists estimate that about 5,000 tons of cosmic dust reach Earth every year. That means right now, as you sit or lie still, you may already be covered in ancient star fragments. Quiet visitors from the farthest corners of time. These particles are not dangerous. They're not something to fear. In fact, they might be one of the most beautiful reminders that we are never separate from space. You are not just on Earth. You are in the universe, and every breath carries a trace of its story. When you wipe your windowsill tomorrow morning, you might just be sweeping away a memory older than the moon. What happens between the stars? It's tempting to think of space as stars, planets, moons, dots on a map. But what about the in-between? The gaps? What fills the space between the stars? The answer is everything. Everything quiet, everything hidden, everything forgotten, and everything still in motion. Between the stars lies the interstellar medium, a mix of gas, plasma, and dust that flows through galaxies like an invisible river. It's thin, far thinner than the best vacuum we can create on Earth. But it's not empty. It moves. It responds. It even glows in certain wavelengths. This is where stars are born. Inside dense pockets of hydrogen gas, gravity begins to gather atoms into clumps. And those clumps, over millions of years, heat up and ignite. A star is born not on a stage, but in a quiet fog of nothingness that slowly learns to shine. Sometimes that medium becomes disturbed. Shockwaves from supernovae rip through it. Magnetic fields twist it. It reacts like fabric pulled in the wind. What looks like space is more like breath. Slow, invisible, essential to the structure of everything. So when you look between the stars, don't think of it as a pause. Think of it as a place full of stories still forming. The dance of galaxies you can't see. You might not feel it, but galaxies move, not just drift, they dance, they spin, they fall into each other's arms. Entire galaxies merge, wrap around each other, and become something entirely new. And while this happens on a scale far beyond our lifetimes, it's happening right now. The Milky Way itself is in motion. It's spiraling through the universe at over 1 million kilometers per hour. Andromeda, our neighboring galaxy, is on a collision course with us. But don't worry, it'll take about 4 billion years to arrive. Still, it's coming. When galaxies collide, they don't crash like cars. They blend like clouds. Their stars mostly pass by one another, but the gas, the dust, the gravity, that's where the interaction gets wild. New stars form, black holes get fed, whole regions light up from the friction. And this isn't rare. The sky is full of interacting galaxies. We've seen them tangled together in telescope images, long arms stretching, loops warping, cores glowing, like dancers spinning in slow cosmic motion. So next time you feel stuck or still or small, remember, the galaxy beneath your feet is twirling across space, quietly, gracefully, with a partner on the way. Why the universe expands, but you can't feel it. Right now, the universe is stretching. Every second it grows just a little larger. Galaxies are drifting apart like quiet boats on a calm ocean. But strangely, you don't feel a thing. The ground doesn't shake. The air doesn't ripple. Your coffee doesn't slide across the table. And yet, space itself is expanding beneath it all. It's one of the strangest discoveries in modern science, and one of the hardest to truly feel, that the very fabric of reality is stretching like soft cloth being pulled at the edges. It's not an explosion, it's a drift, a peaceful, steady unfurling of everything. This expansion was first noticed when astronomers realized distant galaxies weren't just moving, they were speeding up, not slowing down as you'd expect. That's when dark energy entered the conversation, a mysterious force pushing space apart, even though no one fully understands how or why. And still, you don't feel it, because gravity holds you close. Your atoms cling together. The expansion isn't strong enough to tear you away, only to stretch the space between galaxies, ever so slightly. So even though your world feels still, you're part of a movement older than time, a silent balloon inflating, with you quietly floating inside it. The sky isn't still, it's sliding gently apart. If you could take a long exposure photo of the night sky over 1,000 years, you'd see something strange. The stars would no longer form the constellations you know. The sky would look melted, warped. Because all those stars, they're moving, slowly, gently, but undeniably. It's called proper motion, the gradual shift of stars across the sky over time. Most of it is too slow for human eyes to notice in a single lifetime, but it's real. The Big Dipper you see today? It won't always look like that. Eventually it'll stretch out and fade into something unrecognizable. Each star has its own path. Some dart faster, others barely drift. But over millennia, these paths add up. Maps become outdated, patterns disappear, and we're left realizing something we rarely think about. The night sky is temporary. Cultures thousands of years ago looked up and saw different skies, different meanings, different myths. The stars above them weren't fixed either. They were part of the same slow slide that we're still in now. So even when the sky seems frozen, just know it's quietly changing shape above your head, like paint slowly dripping down a canvas while you sleep. The signals we've missed in the static. For decades, telescopes have listened. Giant dishes pointed at the sky, catching whispers of radiation, light, pulses, patterns. And buried deep in all that cosmic static are signals, some familiar, some strange, some still unexplained. There are fast radio bursts, sudden flashes of energy from deep space lasting only milliseconds. They come without warning, repeat at odd intervals. Some are from neutron stars. Others, we're not sure. We hear them, we record them, but their meaning still slips through our fingers like fog. Then there's the famous wow signal, a 72-second burst detected in 1977. So clean, so specific, so different from background noise that an astronomer scribbled wow on the printout. And to this day, it's never been repeated, never fully explained. Just one spark in the dark, and then nothing. Of course, most signals are natural, stars flickering, planets passing, space weather, but every now and then something odd appears, and we wonder, was it meant for us? Or did we just happen to be listening at the right time, with the right ear? The sky isn't quiet, we're just learning how to listen properly. And who knows what melodies we've missed, simply because we weren't paying attention. Ancient light still trying to reach you. Somewhere in the black, light is still on its way. Not fast enough to arrive today, but moving. Travelling across galaxies. Slipping through dust. Dodging gravity wells. Maybe it left its star before the dinosaurs, and it still hasn't finished the trip. This light is old, ancient. It's carried the story of its origin for billions of years, uninterrupted, unspoiled. And the moment it touches your eye, it completes a journey longer than anything you'll ever take in a single lifetime. But here's what's wild. The universe is expanding so fast, some of that light will never reach us. It's stuck in a race it cannot win, forever chasing us across space, while the fabric of that space stretches out just a little too quickly to let it catch up. That means there are stars we will never see, galaxies that existed, and whose light is forever trapped behind an invisible curtain. They're not gone, but they've been pulled out of reach, like memories you can almost remember, but not quite. Even so, some light still gets through, late, faint, but there. And when it does, you're not just seeing something distant, you're meeting something ancient, a silent traveller that waited eons just to arrive in your moment. The sky's secret code, hidden in microwave whispers. Imagine tuning a radio to the emptiest station you can find and hearing a faint hiss. That background noise? It's not just equipment, it's not just interference. Part of that hiss is older than humanity. It's the universe itself, still echoing from its beginning. This is the cosmic microwave background radiation, the oldest light we can detect. It was released just 380,000 years after the Big Bang, when the universe cooled enough for light to travel freely. And that light is still out there, still washing over Earth, still present in every direction you look. We don't see it because it's cold, just 2.7 degrees above absolute zero, and its wavelength falls outside visible light. But with the right instruments, we can map it. And when we do, it shows us a baby picture of the universe, a time when everything was thick, hot, and still forming. That soft whisper in the microwave range is full of data. Tiny fluctuations tell us about the seeds of galaxies, the age of space, the shape of the cosmos. It's like a cosmic fingerprint left behind by creation itself. The night sky hides many things, but some of its oldest truths are not in brightness or movement. They're in the quietest, coldest signal of all. The glitch in the sky no one talks about. Every now and then, scientists point their telescopes toward the sky, and something strange appears. A flicker, a shift, a mismatch, something that doesn't fit the rules. A glitch, not in their computers, but in space itself. And they don't always talk about it. Not loudly. Not yet. These aren't aliens or movie plots. These are data points that don't line up. Galaxies that spin too fast without enough visible mass. Signals that repeat when they shouldn't. Light that bends in ways we can't explain. The sky, it seems, has quirks. Some of these glitches led to discoveries, like dark matter, invisible mass that explains the strange behavior of galaxies, or dark energy, a force that defies gravity and accelerates expansion, but others remain unsolved, like puzzle pieces from a bigger picture we haven't found yet. Even now, astronomers capture images with odd streaks, points of light that flash once, then vanish, bursts of radiation with no clear source, and behind every glitch, a silent question. Is this a mistake or something we don't yet understand? Maybe the universe isn't broken. Maybe it's just more layered than we thought. And the glitches? They're not flaws. They're hints, gentle clues from a sky that knows how to surprise us. What stars do when no one's looking? You've probably looked at the night sky and imagined it as still, as patient. But stars are anything but idle. When no one's watching, they pulse, they spin. Some swell into giants, others shrink into hushed embers. The universe never sleeps, and neither do its stars. Some stars change brightness, not because of clouds or your eyes, but because they're unstable inside. They flicker, dim, and brighten again, like they're breathing. These are variable stars, and each one has a rhythm, a secret heartbeat repeating endlessly in space. Other stars release flares, sudden outbursts of energy that flash across space like invisible firecrackers. Our sun does it too, sometimes gently, sometimes violently, and those flares can knock out satellites or spark auroras on Earth without a sound. There are stars that orbit each other so closely they trade material, one feeding off the other like a cosmic tide. And there are stars that spin so fast they flatten slightly at the poles, as if they're trying to fly apart but hold themselves together just enough to glow. So next time you look up and see a single steady light, remember, it's not still. It's doing something, changing, living, performing, quietly, even when no one's watching. The story hiding behind constellations. You've heard of Orion, the Big Dipper, Cassiopeia, familiar names drawn from myth, traced in stars. But what if I told you that these constellations are only stories from one culture, one point of view? The sky has been read 1,000 different ways, depending on who you ask. To the Greeks, Orion was a hunter. To the Lakota, those same stars told of a sacred journey. To the Chinese, the sky was divided into celestial palaces and divine courts. And in Australia, Aboriginal peoples traced emus, serpents, and ancestral spirits, not in stars, but in the dark spaces between them. Constellations aren't facts, they're patterns we placed on chaos, a human way to find meaning in the infinite, like connecting freckles on a face to make a memory. They've helped us navigate oceans, predict seasons, and tell bedtime stories for centuries. But here's the twist. The stars in a constellation are not close to each other. They only appear grouped from our perspective. In space, they're separated by light years. What looks like a figure to us is actually a random scattering in 3 dimensions. So when you look up and trace those shapes, remember, you're not just seeing stars, you're seeing stories. Yours and everyone else's, layered across time. The secret that Orion's belt is guarding. There's something comforting about Orion's belt. 3 stars, perfectly aligned, cutting across the winter sky like a quiet signature. But these stars, Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka, are more than pretty. They're massive, ancient, and they're guarding something deeper than most realize. All 3 stars are part of a larger region called the Orion Molecular Cloud Complex. It's one of the most active star-forming regions in our galactic neighborhood. Behind that belt lies gas, dust, and stellar nurseries, places where new stars are still being born. And right below the belt, you'll find the Orion Nebula, visible to the naked eye on a clear night. A bright, hazy patch that isn't a star at all. It's a glowing cloud of gas where young stars are igniting like tiny fires in the dark. These stars aren't just big, they're unstable. They burn hotter and faster than our sun, living short, dramatic lives. And when they die, they'll explode, feeding the nebula behind them, creating new elements, seeding future stars, a loop of creation, hidden in what most people just see as 3 dots in a line. Orion's belt isn't just a shape, it's a gateway, a door to something alive, forming and ancient, just waiting to be noticed. When the sky is a map. But not for us. Maps are for explorers, travelers, pilots. But what if the stars weren't mapped for humans? What if their alignment, their position, their motion was meant to guide something or someone else? Not in the sci-fi sense, but in the natural sense, encoded in the cosmos like a quiet design. Birds migrate using the stars. Whales follow celestial cues across oceans. Dung beetles, tiny earthbound, navigate using the Milky Way. Life on this planet has been reading the night sky long before we learned to draw constellations or name planets. The stars offer timing, seasons, direction. But maybe they offer more. Maybe they offer feeling, a pull, a presence, a memory passed down in instinct, not in books. Like trees adjusting their growth to the light, or insects synchronizing their dance with the moon. So while we gaze upward and make meaning out of brightness, other species feel something deeper, not logic, but alignment, not observation, but participation. They aren't looking at the sky, they're in rhythm with it, and maybe, just maybe, we once were too, before lights drowned the stars. Before noise drowned the silence. The sky may not just be a map for you to follow, it might be trying to guide your heart back home. Why you feel small, looking up, and why that's important. It happens quietly. You glance up, and suddenly your problems feel a little smaller. The sky stretches too far to measure. The stars shine like they've been waiting for you longer than any friend ever could. And inside your chest, something shifts. You feel small, but not lost, not unimportant, just placed. That feeling isn't weakness. It's ancient. It's built into your biology. When you see something vast, your brain quiets, your body softens. You stop trying to control everything, and for a moment, you just exist. Right here, beneath all that wonder. People have called it awe, Others call it spiritual alignment, but whatever word you choose, it comes from knowing you are not the center, that the sky above isn't asking you to solve it, only to see it, to feel it, to remember that you're not everything, and that's a relief. Ironically, feeling small can make you feel more connected, because it breaks the illusion of separateness. You're not under the stars. You're inside the same universe as them, made from them, aligned with them, a participant, not just a watcher. So the next time the night sky makes you feel tiny, thank it. That smallness is sacred. It's the beginning of something much, much larger. The night doesn't end where you think it does. When dawn breaks, most people assume the night is over. The stars vanish, the sky fades to blue. The show's done, right? But not quite. The night lingers, quietly, long after the light returns, because the sky doesn't turn off, it just hides. Even during the day, the stars are still up there, still shining, still moving. You just can't see them. The sunlight floods the atmosphere, scattering so much light that the rest becomes invisible. But if you could strip away the brightness, you'd see the constellations still in place, the moon still drifting, the planets still alive. There are even stars that are best viewed during the day, with radio telescopes or infrared sensors. In fact, some of the most important astronomy happens while the world is wide awake. The night sky never leaves. We just forget it's still watching. And here's a secret. Twilight, that soft in-between moment, is when the two skies overlap. The night is still whispering, and the day hasn't fully arrived. It's a conversation between shadows and light, and if you catch it just right, you can feel both worlds in a single breath. The night doesn't end at sunrise, it just retreats into the quiet, waiting for you to remember it again. The light that comes from behind time. Some of the light you see in the sky tonight started its journey before Earth was even Earth, before the oceans, before the moon, before breath. It came from a time when the universe was young, when everything was hotter, closer, louder, and yet it's still arriving now. This ancient light, stretched thin by distance, whispers a version of the universe we'll never see again. It's not a repeat. It's not a recording. It's real, still in motion. And when it reaches your eyes, it doesn't just inform you, it transforms you. You see, time and light are strangely intertwined. Light carries time with it. So when you gaze at distant galaxies, you're not looking far away, you're looking backward. Like flipping through the deepest pages of a history book that keeps rewriting itself. It's humbling, isn't it? That something so old can still be new to you. That your single moment of wonder, tonight, right now, is the final chapter in a billion-year-old journey that only ends when you look up. So the next time you spot a dim glow in the corner of the sky, consider this. You might be witnessing the light of a time before time, and it came all this way just to meet you here. How your brain is reading the sky wrong. Here's a quiet truth. The stars you see aren't exactly where they appear. Your brain, as powerful as it is, has limitations. It simplifies things, makes guesses, fills gaps. It's not lying to you, it's trying to help you survive. But when it comes to the sky, it gets a lot wrong. Light bends through Earth's atmosphere. That twinkle? Part of it is real, but part of it is your brain compensating for distortion. You see a star and assume it's a single point, but some of those points are binary systems, or clusters, or entire galaxies with billions of suns. We also assume the stars are spread evenly, but they're not. Some are close and small, others are huge and unimaginably far. Your eyes can't judge that distance, so your brain flattens the depth, like looking at a painting instead of a sculpture. And even colour is tricky. Your eyes aren't sensitive to the full range of stellar colours, especially in dim light. So most stars look white. But if you had better sensors, you'd see vibrant reds, deep blues, glowing yellows, the full palette of cosmic heat. Still, your brain tries, it creates meaning, shapes, stories, and maybe that's enough. Maybe seeing the sky wrong is part of what makes it feel so right. The illusion of stillness in the stars. It's one of the great paradoxes. We look up and the stars look frozen, timeless, anchored in their place. But nothing in space is still. Everything, everything is moving. Even the stars that seem pinned like thumbtacks in the sky are drifting. Some are racing through the galaxy at over 100 kilometers per second. Some are spiraling toward their eventual collapse. Others are part of giant cosmic flows, pulled along by gravity you'll never see. The stillness is an illusion, a trick of perspective and patience. If you lived for 10,000 years, you'd see the constellations unravel. You'd watch stars pass one another like ships in a silent harbour. The Big Dipper would stretch, bend, then fade. New patterns would emerge. New myths would be born. The sky would look entirely new. And yet, there's comfort in this illusion. The stillness lets us dream. It gives us the illusion of permanence. Like a nightlight we trust will always be there, even if it's quietly changing shape behind the scenes. So the stars are not still, but maybe they're still enough. Still enough to guide a traveller. Still enough to spark a story. Still enough to remind you that even in motion, peace is possible. Why black holes leave no shadows. A shadow needs light to block, but black holes don't block light, they eat it. When you look for a black hole, you won't see a dark spot with a clear edge. You'll see nothing. Not emptiness, but absence. A place where light goes in, but never comes out. That's what makes black holes so strange. They don't cast shadows. They are the missing light. Even their edges, the event horizon, are not solid walls. They're boundaries where reality gets blurry, where time stretches, where the laws we trust begin to tremble, but they don't just vanish quietly. Around them, space glows. Matter swirls at unimaginable speeds, heating up, twisting into glowing rings. That's how we find them, not by the hole, but by the storm it leaves behind. A cosmic whirlpool glowing with the last cries of light. And still, black holes are not monsters. They are part of the universe's cycle. They help shape galaxies. They keep balance. They are not evil. They just are. Silent, powerful, and misunderstood. So next time you imagine a black hole, don't look for a shadow. Look for what's not there. The missing light. The pause between stars. A reminder that sometimes what we can't see is what shapes everything around it. When galaxies collide in perfect silence, galaxies are not lone wanderers. They're travelers in crowded highways of stars, and sometimes their paths cross. When they do, they don't explode or shatter. They merge gracefully, silently, over millions of years into something new. A celestial dance that defies everything we thought chaos should look like. You might expect destruction, crashing planets, colliding suns, but most of the time they pass through each other without touching, because space, for all its density, is mostly space. The stars glide past one another like dancers in a fog, close but untouched. But the gravity, that's where the action happens. It pulls, it stretches, it reshapes both galaxies, their arms twisting, their centers colliding, and in the chaos, new stars are born. Whole nurseries of light sparked by the embrace of two ancient giants. We've seen this. Telescopes have caught them in mid-collision. spiral arms bent like ribbons, cores glowing from the friction. And one day, our galaxy will do the same. The Milky Way and Andromeda, heading toward each other like quiet partners in a dance that won't even finish in your grandchildren's lifetime. So if you ever feel like your world is colliding, remember, even galaxies merge with grace, and from their union, new light is born, the cosmic winds you'll never hear. You think of wind as something you can hear, a soft whistle in the trees, a rustle across your skin. But in space, wind exists too. You just can't hear it, because it doesn't move through air. It moves through everything else. Plasma, particles, magnetic fields. These are solar winds, streams of charged particles launched from stars. Our sun sends them constantly, flowing across the solar system like an invisible tide. They shape planetary atmospheres. They carve out giant magnetic bubbles. They can even shut down satellites or trigger auroras that shimmer across polar skies. And beyond the solar winds, there are galactic winds, massive outflows from the centers of galaxies, often powered by black holes or waves of exploding stars. These winds are strong enough to push gas out of entire galaxies, changing their shape, their future, their ability to form new stars. But there's no sound, no roar, just motion, force without noise, pressure without presence. You can't feel it on your face, but it's there, moving the universe along in silence. There's something poetic about that, isn't there? That even in the vacuum of space, there is wind, gentle, relentless, always moving, whether you notice or not, the light that never meant to reach us. Some of the starlight that touches your skin at night wasn't meant for you. It left its source before Earth had cities, before you had a name. It travelled without purpose, through storms of gas, around galaxies, bent by gravity, scattered by dust, and by sheer accident found its way to your eyes. That light could have missed us entirely. One slight change in angle, and it would have flown past unnoticed, absorbed by a rock, a moon, a cold patch of gas. But it didn't. It made it. All that distance, all that time, and it arrived here. Now with you. It's strange to think of starlight as wandering, but it does. Photons launched into the dark, unsure where they'll land, like seeds in the wind. Some of them will never be seen. Others, just a few, will end their journey in a telescope lens, or in your gaze while you're half asleep under the open sky. And in that moment, something ancient becomes personal. That starlight didn't mean to reach you, but it did. And that's enough to make it sacred. So if you've ever felt like you arrived by accident, like the world missed you, just remember, the most beautiful light in the sky wasn't aiming either, but its arrival was still a miracle. How planets hide in plain sight. Stars get all the attention. They're bright, bold, unmissable. But the real magic, the secret stories, often belong to planets. And most of them, you won't even know they're there, because they hide. They don't glow. They reflect. They blend into the background, like quiet watchers in the dark. Finding planets around other stars, exoplanets, is one of the great achievements of modern astronomy. And yet, we almost never see them directly. Instead, we watch how the star dims when the planet passes in front, or how the star wobbles just slightly, pulled by something small but present. Some of these planets are hot, boiling, covered in gas. Others are frozen, rocky, maybe even oceanic. Some orbit two stars, some spin upside down, some rain glass sideways in winds faster than sound. And still, you wouldn't know any of this just by looking. They're that well hidden. Even in our own solar system, new planetary candidates still whisper through the data. Maybe a giant dark world at the edge, still unseen but suspected, waiting for the right lens, the right night, the right angle. So much of the universe doesn't ask to be noticed. It just is. The planets don't need to shine because they already know who they are. The creatures of light that only exist in theory. In the edges of science, there live possibilities. Some are whispered, others are written into equations and left waiting for evidence. Among them are creatures of light, not animals, not beings, but theoretical forms of life that could exist in ways we've never seen. Not carbon, not flesh, but energy. Physicists have asked, if life arose on Earth through chemistry, why couldn't it emerge in other places through light, or magnetism, or plasma? Could there be forms of intelligence not bound to planets or bones, but to clouds of charged particles? Floating inside stars? Drifting through nebulae? These aren't just dreams. Some equations say it's possible, that under the right conditions, patterns of complexity could emerge from things we've never called alive. And if they did, they wouldn't need air, or water, or warmth, just stability, just time. We've never seen them. We may never confirm them, but that doesn't mean they aren't real. After all, the atoms in your body were once just theoretical. So were black holes. So was Earth, to anyone not yet born here. Sometimes the universe hides not what's there, but what could be. And sometimes the most stunning creatures are the ones we haven't yet learned how to look for. Why the universe feels like it's watching itself. You've probably felt it, that strange pull when you look up, like you're not just seeing the stars, but being seen by them. It's not paranoia, it's not superstition, it's something deeper. The quiet realization that you are made of the same thing you're looking at. The atoms in your hands, the carbon, the iron, the oxygen, all came from stars. Stars that lived, died, and scattered their pieces across space. Eventually those pieces became you, which means when you look into the sky is, in a strange way, looking back. Some scientists call this the universe becoming aware of itself, through you, through your eyes, your thoughts, your wonder. You're not outside of space. You're space in human form, reflecting on itself through a moment of consciousness. It's beautiful and slightly eerie that the thing you observe, the cosmos, made the observer you, not deliberately, but inevitably. You are the ripple of awareness in an otherwise quiet sea of particles. So when the night feels personal, maybe it is. Maybe it's not just you watching the universe. Maybe, just maybe, it's the universe remembering itself through you. The secret job of neutrinos. Right now, trillions of particles are passing through your body. Every second. You don't feel them. You don't see them. But they're there. Slipping through walls, floors, your heartbeat. They're called neutrinos, and they are the universe's most elusive messengers. They're born in the heart of stars, in nuclear reactions, in exploding supernovae. They carry no charge, almost no mass. They barely interact with matter, which makes them nearly impossible to detect, but also perfect at slipping through the universe untouched. Every second, neutrinos from the sun pass through Earth like it's not even there. Some may come from events billions of years ago, still moving, still unchanged, still carrying silent data from the dawn of time. We've built detectors deep underground, filled with heavy water, or buried in Antarctic ice, just to catch a glimpse of one. A single flash, a rare bump, proof that something unseen has arrived. Why does it matter? Because neutrinos may hold clues to how the universe works, how it formed, why matter exists, and what came before everything we know. They are the sky's smallest couriers, but they carry the biggest secrets. and most of the time, they pass through you without even saying hello. How gravity distorts the truth above you. You probably trust your eyes when you look at the stars. They seem to be where they are. Their glow feels honest. But space is full of distortions. Gravity doesn't just pull objects, it bends light. It stretches truth. It curves reality in ways your brain can't naturally detect. Imagine looking at a candle through the bottom of a wine glass. The light bends, the image warps. Now imagine that on a galactic scale. When light from a distant star passes near a massive object, like a black hole or galaxy cluster, it bends. And the result? We might see that star in the wrong place, or in multiple places at once. This is gravitational lensing, and it's not just visual trickery, it's a window into hidden worlds. We've discovered galaxies, exoplanets, and dark matter through these distortions, like shadows revealing what the object itself refuses to show. Even time bends near extreme gravity. Clocks tick slower near massive objects. If you stood near a black hole and I stayed on Earth, minutes for you could be hours for me. Reality becomes flexible, software rearranged. So when you look into the sky, know that some of what you see is real, and some is space gently lying to your eyes to help you see what you never could alone. Why some stars are not where they appear. There's a quiet illusion happening every night. You look up and spot a star, maybe bright, maybe faint, and you assume it's where it looks like it is. But in truth, it might already be gone, or somewhere else, or part of something much larger that your eyes can't quite piece together. Stars move. Slowly, yes, but over time their positions shift, and by the time their light reaches you, they may have already drifted to a new location. You're seeing them not as they are, but as they were. A memory written in photons. Some stars are also part of binary or triple systems, multiple suns orbiting each other. But from Earth, they look like one point, one glow, a single presence, when in reality, they're locked in an intricate, invisible dance. And sometimes, atmospheric distortions, wind, dust, heat, nudge the light just enough to throw your perception off. The star twinkles, yes, but it also misleads. Not intentionally, just gently, like a storyteller playing with rhythm to keep you leaning forward. The stars are not always where they appear, but maybe that's part of the magic. Not everything true needs to be precise. Sometimes beauty is in the gentle lie that helps you see something deeper. The tremble of the sky you'll never notice. The sky looks calm, it always has, but beneath that stillness there's a tremble, a vibration so soft, so subtle, that no human has ever felt it directly. But it's real. The fabric of space isn't still. It hums. It ripples. Like a pond disturbed by a pebble too small to see. This tremble comes from gravitational waves, tiny distortions in space-time caused by cataclysmic events like colliding black holes or exploding stars. They ripple out in all directions, squeezing and stretching space as they go. You won't notice them. Your heartbeat won't skip, but they pass through you, even now. It wasn't until 2015 that we first heard them, not with ears, but with ultra-sensitive detectors that measure space itself stretching. LIGO recorded the echo of two black holes colliding over 1 billion years ago. That tremble, that tiny signal, changed everything, because it proved what Einstein predicted. It proved that the universe moves in ways we cannot touch, but can learn to feel, given the right tools. It whispered to us that space is alive, that it flexes, that it listens. And now whenever you look at the stars, remember, the sky is trembling, not in fear, but in quiet conversation with events older than time. the dust that can block a million suns. There are places in the sky that seem blank, patches where no stars shine, not because there's nothing there, but because something is in the way. Cosmic dust, tiny particles no bigger than grains of smoke, floating through space in veils thick enough to block the light of entire galaxies. This dust doesn't glow. It doesn't reflect like a mirror. It absorbs. It darkens. And in doing so, it hides. Behind one such dust cloud, the Coalsack Nebula, is a stretch of space filled with stars we can't see, not because they're too faint, but because the dust has swallowed their light. But here's the secret, that dust is not just an obstacle, it's the raw material for creation. Planets form from it. So do moons, so do we. What hides the stars also builds worlds. It blocks vision, yes, but it creates the very things we hope to find. Some of it comes from supernovae, ashes of exploded suns. Some drifts in from interstellar winds. Some clumps in cold regions where new stars are trying to form. And in that dust, complex molecules are found. Maybe even the ingredients for life. So if you stare at a patch of darkness and see nothing, don't turn away. That's not emptiness. That's potential, waiting in disguise. What the sky is whispering in ultraviolet. The night sky looks quiet, but in ultraviolet light, just beyond what your eyes can see, it's speaking, not in sentences but in flares, in flashes, in subtle signals that reveal things the visible spectrum hides. Because the universe doesn't just shine in colour, it shines in hidden colour. Massive stars burn hottest in ultraviolet. They don't just twinkle, they blaze. Their energy cuts through space like invisible fire. But your eyes weren't built to catch that flame. Only special telescopes can see what's truly glowing in that part of the sky. Young galaxies sparkle in UV. So do quasars, the bright ancient hearts of far-off galaxies. Even the edges of dying stars emit ultraviolet size. It's a frequency of youth and transformation and endings too. Here on Earth, UV helps bees find flowers. It lights up coral reefs. It's always been here. We just forget to look with anything beyond our human senses. But if you could tune your vision just a little higher, you'd see the sky as a different place entirely. The stars are not hiding their secrets. They're telling them, just not in your language. Ultraviolet is one of the dialects of the cosmos, and it's whispering, every night. The gentle pull of dark matter. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but dark matter is there, all around you, passing through you, holding galaxies together like invisible scaffolding. It doesn't glow, it doesn't reflect, it doesn't interact with light, and yet it makes up most of the mass in the universe. We discovered it not by spotting it, but by watching what it does. Galaxies spin faster than they should. Gravity pulls harder than it has any right to. Something unseen is keeping everything from flying apart. That something is dark matter. No one knows what it's made of. It doesn't behave like anything we've touched in a lab. But without it, the stars would drift away. The Milky Way would dissolve. And you wouldn't be here. Because the conditions for life wouldn't exist without its quiet balance. We've mapped it using gravitational lensing, watching how light bends around things we can't see, like tracing the outline of a shadow with no source. It's there. It works. It moves. It matters. Dark matter is proof that not all things worth knowing make themselves known. Sometimes the most powerful forces in the universe are the ones that ask for no attention at all. The curtain of reality is thinner at night. There's a strange feeling that creeps in just after midnight, a softness in the air, a silence that feels a little too still. You've felt it, that moment where time slows, and something behind the world feels just within reach, like a curtain you could almost lift. Science doesn't name it, but poets do, philosophers too. They call it liminal space, the in-between, a quiet hour where the mind softens, and the boundaries between seen and unseen begin to blur. At night your senses change. You hear differently, you think differently, your body quiets, and your awareness sharpens. And maybe that's why the stars feel closer. Maybe that's why dreams feel more vivid. The distractions fade, and what's beneath the world begins to whisper. Some cultures believe this is the hour when spirits walk. Others say it's when the veil between worlds thins. And while science doesn't chase those claims, it can't ignore how the mind becomes more porous in the dark, more open, more connected. So if you ever feel something strange in the sky, just before sleep, just past logic, don't be alarmed. That's the curtain. It's not broken. It's simply letting you peek through, just for a little while.